What's up, people? It's your boy Tommy Traffic with a new video for you guys today. And in this video today, I want to talk about why your Google and Facebook ads may be leaking profits. Okay. Now, this strategy that I'm going to talk about is really when you're scaling. Like if you're just starting or you just kind of getting your ads going, maybe you're only spending a couple $100s a day, $50 a day or something, you're not really going to have to worry about this much. But if you're scaling, if you're spending, 50,000, 100K, 200K, 500K a month, even $1 million a month, then this is something you want to pay attention to if you don't know this already. I call it the spillover strategy, okay? This is what I call it. So I'm going to put spillover strategy. And so I'm going to be working on my remarkable. So you'll see next to me here on the video, I have my remarkable. I'm going to be kind of illustrating this concept, okay? And I see a lot of people make this mistake, particularly, newer brands that are just starting to have a lot of success. They kind of miss this. I actually learned this just kind of, a lot of experience. And so I'll explain, as I go along and you guys will kind of understand it. So big mistake that I see a lot of new brands, a lot of media buyers, agencies, a lot of agencies might not even know this. So they might not share this information with you because they might not even know about it, right? So what happens is you're spending money on ads, okay? And you're creating awareness. You're creating behavior that you may not be aware of. So let me kind of break this down real quick. So most people understand, okay, so we'll start with a box and we'll say ads, okay? So these are your ads, and you can call it Facebook, Google, wherever you're running ads at. We're not going to go into the depths of it, but let's just call it your ads. And then what a lot of people will do, and what you should do, is drive that traffic into an ad funnel. So a funnel specifically designed for your ads. Now, I'm not going to get into, because you should have a funnel, every traffic source is kind of its own beast. So, you can have multiple ad funnels for different traffic sources. I'm not going to get into this now. That's probably a video for another time that we'll get into, but this is what most people do. So they'll have that. So what happens is someone sees your ad, they click it. So these are going to be your clicks, and it's going to take them to your ad funnel. And then usually from your funnel, if it's working properly, you'll make money, right? You'll convert, okay? And this is what most people measure their ad success based on, this journey. And the reality is that's not what the typical buyer's journey really looks like. And so when you're leaking profits, you're missing a lot of what I call non-click behavior. So I'm going to explain it to you. So whether you're, doing Amazon type stuff, whether you're doing, physical products like on Amazon, you drive into your own funnel, whatever, whether you're selling courses, this all applies, right? So I'm just going to kind of give you guys some examples. So number one, you got Amazon. So if you're doing physical products, maybe you host them on Amazon, maybe you don't. And I'll explain that a little bit more about that in a minute. And then you also have people who will search. So they'll go to Google, okay? And I'm spelling Google like kind of crazy. Google search. You also have YouTube, which is a huge search engine. So YouTube search, okay? And I think I left the A out of search, so bear with me on that. I'm working on that. But that's YouTube search. That's what that says. So let me see if I can make that look a little bit better. So YouTube search. And then I kind of just group social media kind of all in there. Because what will happen is someone will see your ad, and I'm going to say social media, and they don't always follow this clear path, right? they do what I call a lot of non-click search activity. So this is non-click behavior is what I called it. Okay. And what happens is people will see your ad, they won't click it, and they'll go look for reviews. They'll go search for, your company, your name, your brand. It all really depends on how you're presenting yourself is what's creating that, right? So if you have a brand that's not a person, right, but like a brand, a standalone brand, a Nike or whatever, right? Because Nike got Jordan, but Nike is also the brand, right? So if you're a personal brand or you have a person attached to your brand and you're using that in your ads, that's going to create non-click behavior around people looking for you in that way. If it's a brand, they're going to go and look for your brand. Now, what I can tell you for a fact, if you do physical products, stuff that can be bought on Amazon, people will go and look to buy your product on Amazon. I've seen data that suggests about 30% of people, they won't ever buy from you. They'd rather go and buy it on Amazon because they probably don't know you yet. They don't trust you, but they trust Amazon. So they'll go to Amazon and they'll look for your product, right? They'll go to search, Google search. Now there's something called brand search that we do. So when you're starting to drive enough of this behavior, an easy, simple thing you can do, you can open your Google ad account, use the keyword planner to see how many people are searching your brand, whether it's your personal name, whether it's your brand, whether it's a specific product or offer that you push that you're using in a lot of your messaging. You want to go and see how many people are searching this, because if you're not doing brand search, I can promise you your competitors are watching and they're looking for low-hanging fruit to take advantage of. And if you're not bidding on that, that's money that's going to be leaking out because you want to be bringing those people back. Now, here's the thing about brand search, and I won't go too deep into it, but brand search is really just the way we use it really is really twofold. One is designed to take up more real estate on the first page of Google. So if somebody goes, searches my brand, I want to have my brand search ad there because I want to make sure that I'm taking up as much of the top of Google as possible. And if you study or if you go and do this research, you can see that most people on the first page of Google usually don't go beyond like the first, the top of the page or the first couple of listings, right? So you want to be present there. But also where Google search comes into play is on your SEO, right? You want to make sure that you're ranking for these terms because you're creating this awareness. You're creating this behavior. And if you're not in these places, other people are going to take advantage of that. Now, I understand maybe, you might not want to be on Amazon, but people are also searching on Amazon because Amazon is a really big search engine. And what happens is, and I know this for a fact because I know people who do this stuff, not people that I'm friends with, by the way, but people, what they'll do, and I've seen people do this, they basically will create knockoffs of your brand. And if you're not on Amazon, they'll go and position a knockoff product on Amazon because you're spending all of this money. When you start talking $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a day, you're creating this type of behavior where people are searching for you on Amazon. And now you're creating that behavior, creating traffic. And if you're not in position to capture that traffic, someone else is going to sit in that position. And what that means is you're going to lose that revenue that your ads actually created, right? So you're leaking profits there. Same thing with Google search. Same thing with YouTube search. Same thing with social media. If people are searching for you and they're finding these other, opportunities, they're not going to cycle back to you. So you're going to lose that profit. People do this. Your competitors do this. Like I said, I know people who they make a whole living off of this type of low-hanging fruit. And I'm not trying to knock anyone's hustle. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that you're creating behavior that you may not understand and you want to be in these positions because the normal activity of a lot of buyers, they're not going to follow a direct path to your purchase. They're going to do all of these other things. But if you position yourself properly when they do these things, whether consciously or subconsciously, they end back up buying from you. You can design it this way. And this is really what this spillover strategy is about. And so the last kind of piece of this puzzle, and this is really like a 30,000 foot view of it, is really like your main hub is what I call. So whether you have a Shopify site, when you're doing Shopify or your personal brand or whatever, what you want to do with your main hub is you want to make sure that the people who do these searches, you're in these positions so that what happens is they come back to your main hub. Now, obviously, if you're on Amazon, Amazon will get you to the money, right? Because there's just a certain number of people, they're just going to buy on Amazon. They're not going to give you that money. But you want to be in position to recoup that. But if they go and they do these other searches, YouTube, Google, you want to be on these places so that you push them back to your main hub, and then you drive them back down into your funnel so that they end up back to where you want, right? And this is how you can pick up a lot of that revenue. First time I had an opportunity to really understand this, because I kind of knew it was happening and I could see the different data and whatnot, but I was working with a company called Organifi, and I was seeing, we were running a lot of YouTube ads, like a ton of YouTube ads. And we were creating all of this awareness because the amount of impressions, I mean, we had like a 1.6 billion or something like that impressions during our time when I was working with them. So that created a lot of interest, a lot of awareness, a lot of behavior where people were searching their brand. I know at one point it was like from nothing to like 40, 50,000 searches a month on their brand term, right? People going over to Amazon searching for their brand. And if they wasn't on Amazon and they wasn't ranking for their keywords and having these, other places that people can funnel back into their main hub or their funnels to be able to convert those people, there was a lot of money being left on the table, right? So I was able to kind of share this idea, and we were able to kind of capture a lot of this. And here's what happens when you do this, right? Now what happens is, because here's what, again, like so most people, right, they go ads, right? They go funnel, and then they go, conversion, right? That's what most people do, right? That's not what a lot of buyers will do. So when you design this spillover strategy, now what happens is you're capturing more of this revenue based on the awareness and the behavior that you're creating. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to evaluate your ads differently. It allows you to scale differently, to be more aggressive, perhaps, because you're not so focused on the return on ad spend, because all you're doing is an ad to a funnel, right? You're now looking at the overall picture of how much revenue your ads are producing, because you're designing this spillover strategy so that you can recoup a lot of this other stuff. Because here's what happens, and I'm probably preaching to the choir, but what happens is as you scale your customer acquisition costs, your clicks, and a lot of this stuff, as you expand into these other audiences and whatnot, as you're trying to scale, your costs are going to go up. It's going to be harder and harder. It gets harder and harder to be profitable just driving ads to a funnel, to a conversion, right? Now, when you have this strategy in play, you basically now can evaluate your ads completely different, and it can unlock a large amount of growth, because you now can see, not only are my ads creating this revenue on this direct path, I'm also evaluating the revenue my ads are producing because of this behavior that I'm creating. And now, this was a real key strategy that allowed us to really scale, because we didn't have to worry so much about how profitable we were driving traffic to our funnels, right? Now, when our costs are going up, because we understand the rest of this stuff and there's other behaviors, and we're able to track these things, we can see how much revenue our ads are actually producing, not just add to a funnel, right? And it just changes the game a lot. And so that's really kind of what this whole spillover strategy is about, in terms of, being able to evaluate what you're doing and really determining the true impact that you're creating by spending all of this money, and not leaking these profits, because it's going to make it way easier, better for you to scale when you understand this than if you just look at this in like a silo or in a box. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people who don't understand this or haven't been explained to it, or maybe they got an agency running their ads. The agency is not explaining this stuff. They're not talking about this. And now the way you're evaluating what you're doing, you're not really maximizing what you're doing because of the way you're evaluating and making decisions, right? And this is where I talk a lot about decision making, data-driven decision making, right? Because you can track all of this stuff. A matter of fact, we ran before we had ran like a lot of times I've ran like what I call a lip test. And there was one time where we were spending all of this money and the ads didn't look like they were doing well, but I knew that this other activity was happening, and I'm trying to get my client to understand this. And so what I did was like, all right, let's drop the spend down, right? And let's see what happens. So, a couple days go by, I get a phone call. It's like, yo, revenue is in the tank. And I'm like, I was trying to explain it to you. So now you can see for yourself. Because when we turned the ads down, the sales from Amazon went down. The sales from the organic channels went down. The main hub that was kind of the catch-all for all of this non-click behavior that was still pushing them into these funnels, that revenue was down. And because we had all of these things in play and we were tracking that, we could see that stuff doing that. And soon as we turned the ads back up, all of these things picked back up again. And so I was able to really drive home this point, and it allowed us to really break through on a whole nother level. We kind of probably 3 months later, I want to say we were able to double our spend. And we was already spending a healthy 6 figures a month. We was able to double our spend because now I had the data to prove to them what I'm saying, to be able to say, let's not purely evaluate what we're doing from these ads to this funnel. We need to evaluate that, but we also need to take these other things into consideration in how we're making decisions about how we're scaling, so that we're not losing opportunity because we're pulling back because we think, the return on ad spend numbers isn't where we want them to be, when in reality, when we look at the whole picture, our ads are producing a crazy amount of revenue, right? So that's really what this strategy is about. That's really kind of the lesson. And again, this is a really 30,000 foot view. I'm going to go deeper in other videos on some of these topics or whatever. But the main thing I wanted to get across is to evaluate what you're doing. Look at your Google, your Facebook, Instagram, influencer, whatever you're doing, driving traffic, and understand there's this non-click behavior. There's this buyer's journey that is happening that you're trying to, if you are only doing add to funnel, you know what I'm saying? You're missing a huge piece, right? You're missing a huge piece. And so you have to understand that people will do all of these other things. We live in a multi-platform world, right? People are on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all of these different platforms, right? And now buyers have options, right? People don't just, see ads and automatically go and buy a lot of the times. That's why it's important to have all of these things in play. Like when you're scaling, like when you starting out and you just need to dial in your funnel. Yeah, you don't be worried about this. But now when you starting to like really get your ads popping and you really trying to push, you got to start looking at these things. So that's really what I wanted to drive home in this video, so that you can take this information and apply it and start going and looking at your whole ecosystem and how people are coming into your world, so that then you can have tracking in place and being able to see where all of these revenues are coming from. Then you can go back and evaluate how your ads are impacting those things. So now when you're evaluating and making decisions on your ads, it's not purely in this kind of like, a silo, if you will. You got this whole other, activity that you're creating from spending all of this money, and you want to go and recoup as much of that revenue as possible. So you want to make sure that you have all of these other things in play. Now, I'm not saying go out and immediately try to do it all in one fell swoop. You just want to kind of add on little bit by little bit, so that you kind of have this holistic ecosystem set up and designed, so that even if the buyer see your ad, don't follow the direct path, they still will go and do this other activity, and they still end up finding themselves back into your funnel. Whether they, it probably just like in their mind, they think they may feel like they were in control, because that's what I think a lot of is happening in our world today, is that the buyers know that they have options. They want to feel like they're in control, and you just want to design your ecosystem in such a fashion where you're giving people the option, right, to be able to operate and feel like they're in control, but yet and still you kind of got all of these breadcrumbs out here that still bring them back to the primary thing right over here, which is they're going to end up buying for you. Because if your offer is strong, your product is great, you know what I'm saying, you got great customer service, when you got those things, you're still going to rise above everything, every other option that they see, and they still going to end up coming back to you because you got those things, right? And so when you have the rest of this to go along with that, it's just a whole different level that you can really scale with. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover in this video. I wanted to try to keep it short, but I hope this visualization helps. Again, I want to go into deeper parts of these elements. There's a lot of other things I want to share as well. So here's what I need you to do, right? Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know, do you want me to share more of this stuff? Because right now I'm just taking ideas and concepts and I'm trying to put them in a position where you guys can take them and be able to apply this expertise and knowledge that I have. And I want to share a lot more of it, but I want to know that it's valuable to you. So I want to hear from you. I want to, put some, in the comments, or, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you want more of this. Let me know if there are certain topics you want to discuss. And also hit the subscribe button if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, because I'm looking at all of these signals, the comments and all of that stuff, to give me an idea. Am I on the right path? Is this stuff that people really care about? Because at the end of the day, if I only want to make these videos because you guys want to watch them. And if no one really cares about this stuff, then I just, I don't want to be wasting my time on it. I want to figure out how to make sure that I deliver real world value to you, where you want to tune in, where you want to watch, and you like what I got to offer, and I can really help you, level up in your business. So that's it for this video for now. Hit that subscribe button. Drop me some feedback in the comments. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.